They don't just send screenshots of Discord, which they say this is from. They type it up in a Word doc or whatever. So first of all, that thing is super fishy. Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, you give me your
Well,
thoughts.
even AI thinks it's fishy. AI says it's scripted. It's such a random text to include.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I understand you have to withhold some stuff, I guess.
It references all the evidence.
Right.
Conveniently.
That is part of the thing that makes it so fishy, is he does, like, my rifle's wrapped in a towel in a bush. That's where I change clothes. These ellipses mean there's more information in between. By not releasing it, it feels like they're purposefully trying to paint a picture. And when the authorities purposefully try to paint a picture, I get suspicious of said picture. Welcome to Loaded Talk. I am your congressman, the third most popular candidate to ever be. I am Frank, and along with me as always...
What's up, Planet Earth? I'm Bean.
It's the Bean Machine. Bean LLC. Still haven't gotten over that one. What's up? Why isn't our... Okay, there we go. All right, so last week was a whole lot about Kirk and I guess, Charlie Kirk and the stuff surrounding it. Charlie Kirk's murder, assassination has still dominated the news, the country, but a lot of the world still for this last week. I mean, they had little ceremonies for him in, I think, South Korea and the UK and all sorts of places. The UK had that giant protest that hundreds of thousands of people, if not 1 million people, showed up for. Where they're protesting kind of mass immigration and all the censorship laws and all that kind of stuff. Did you see any of these pictures?
I saw Nepal, which was unrelated, but
Unrelated, we had Nepal's pretty crazy too. Did you see that there was like one white guy tourist that was there for the whole time? That guy's pretty funny. Ah! But like the streets from like near like the London Eye, it's some bridge over the Thames or something. But it's just humanity going forever. Like a lot of people showed up for this thing. I saw. Oh, you reposted something that England's had, or the UK's had 12,000 arrests for online posts since 2023.
Sir Musk posted that.
Yeah, that's right. And I think by comparison, United States has had 50, like 50. So slightly more. But it's fine. It's fine. But they stopped and did a thing for Charlie Kirk over there in the UK. Of course, when we were on last, they had not yet found the killer. Now they have. You got your doubts. Some other people have doubts. We'll talk about some of that. What's his name? Tyler Robinson? Is that his name?
Exactly my point. Nobody cares.
So Tyler Robinson's the kid's name. They basically what happened, just to go through it, of course, the kid, his mom sees the picture get released, and she goes, "Ah, crap, that looks like Tyler." And then they show the gun, and the dad goes, "Ah, that is Grandpa's gun that he gave him." So they call. The mom calls after the first photo. Is like, "Where you at, honey?" He goes, "I'm homesick." She goes, "Oh, well, that's good." And after the gun showed up, his dad was like, "Hey, bud, can you send me a picture of Grandpa's rifle? He was just asking who's got what, and I wanted to send him a picture." And so anyway, eventually, I guess, his dad does get him on the phone, and he basically says he's going to off himself. So they're able to talk him to come back to the family home, which is like hours away, like 3 hours away or something. And then their neighbor is a retired deputy or something like that. And so he called the authorities to say, I have the suspect and I'm bringing him in, all that. So he got in without death by cop. They are going for the death penalty, which in Utah can be a firing squad. They accept volunteers. Were you unaware of this, Charlie?
I did not. I thought that was a joke.
No, Utah still has firing squad.
What?
Yeah, they get I want to say 7 people, and then they give 6 of them blanks, one of them a live round, and so no one is sure whose bullet kills the guy. Yeah,
Wow. What if the one person misses?
I was worried about that too. I think you have to like probably show competency or something. I mean, you know, hopefully you're not volunteering for a firing squad if you can't hit a target that close. You know.
Well, don't take any St. Pete cops in.
Ooh. I do wonder too. Like, it can't just be one bullet. I guess it's got to be a headshot then. Otherwise, they bleed out and stuff. But yeah, you better be a good shot. I mean, he's sitting still. I'm sure he's. Anyway, my guess is guilty firing squad's going to happen. If I had to guess how this ends, or he hangs himself early on suicide watch with tearaway sheets. You do wonder, like, put yourself in this kid's situation, right? You did it. You left a shocking amount of evidence. And you've pretty much already confessed, and like your parents aren't paying for a lawyer for you. You're getting a public defender probably. That could change between now and the trial. But you did it. So do you go out and claim not guilty? I mean, you don't have the type of lawyer, like a nice private expensive lawyer, who can be like, I think you were temporarily insane. You got your brain twisted or something, to try and make that sort of argument or something to knock you off of death row, something. But then you go 22 years old. Life expectancy another 50 years. So you're going to spend twice your existing life, maybe 3 times your current life to date in prison. I mean, I might be tempted to just plead guilty and speed to the squad, Like, why? I mean, we'll spend a lifetime in jail? Like, I don't know, man. Because it's one thing if you go, I'm innocent, and I'm going to fight till my last breath to prove it. Or, there's some extenuating circumstance or something where you go, I think on appeal or something. Or even a loophole. Maybe just there's insufficient evidence. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like, you did it. You got caught. So maybe just let's speed this process along. I don't know. So let's see. There have been, of course, people with doubts as to the story. I know you've sent me some clips. I know there are people who are concerned, of course, about Israel. Now, any good conspiracy does involve Israel. Problem is, Israel does also get into a lot of weird stuff. So Bibi, one reason I think that it did pop up is Bibi hopped up immediately and interjected himself immediately, which he's a foreign president. This is weird, A guy named Max Blumenthal, I think, was on Tim Dillon, and he wrote an article. In it, he says that Israel attempted to, or Netanyahu attempted to get big, like $1 billion investors for Turning Point. He's like, hey, Charlie Kirk, you want to take this to the next level? Right now, like, you're growing exponentially, but you want to be, huge. The next level, you can't even imagine huge. Do you want those sorts of resources? And Kirk apparently declined. And so there was anger. And so Blumenthal says that people, some billionaires and Netanyahu were none too pleased with being turned down. Now, most of that Blumenthal reporting comes from one guy at News, Alex Jones's place. Was it Newsbusters? Newsbusters, right? Anyway, but so not heavily sourced. It's just been quoted by a couple of different people, and then each person is quoting basically the same one source. That being said, here we're kind of going in all sorts of weird orders, but I think this is fine to be talking about. that there's some doubt, and this will kind of lead me into where I thought I was going to be going. This is Tucker and Megyn Kelly on, I guess, Tucker's show. Yeah, where's our volume at? Hold on. I don't know. Yeah,
switch.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And I think that's why he was perceived as such a threat. That's why him saying the things others would say carried an extra layer of threat, yet both to this shooter and to Charlie's many detractors. And I just want to add as a period to this, as a footnote, I guess, to this, Tucker, you have a lot of it too. And it is the reason why Charlie is not the only one who's been threatened or was threatened to cut ties with you or not platform you. I too have gotten that, especially since you've been more outspoken on Israel. And I couldn't care less the amount of pressure they put on. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. This is madness. Why would you want to silence such a powerful, important voice just because you disagree with them on one subject, one on which we've all watched you sincerely evolve as you grapple with principles you've been espousing for years, like America First, like what's happening to Christians, like what's best for us and our kids here? How do I keep them safe? That's my number one priority. And I've been just absolutely disgusted and recoiled from people who have tried to pressure me on it. It, of course, never happened. But I know from speaking to Charlie, he felt it too. You've heard it from Charlie that he felt, and there is a layer here of nefarious pressure to have certain narratives go only one way.
Yes.
That must be called out and must be fought.
Okay, so I grabbed the wrong one. But, so that was kind of the beginning of it, where they speak about how he was feeling lots of pressure. He was getting, I think the term they used was harassed, daily or whatever. But Tucker says he was told about it specifically. Megyn Kelly says, she too heard. We're basically after this sort of billionaire retreat for influencers, where they're trying to influence that Charlie Kirk did not bite. And after that kind of got a lot of grief. You need to toe the line on Israel. Though Charlie Kirk was not outspoken in opposition of Israel. Like he said that he wants to know what happened with October 7th because he has been to Israel. He saw how much time it takes to get to Gaza, you get to that border where all the guards and everybody are most of the time, the robot machine guns and everything. So he was like, it took us, I forget what he said, 45 minutes or something to get there. How come there were 6 hours of no response? How did this go on for 6 hours? So like that needs to be looked into. But he's still, he was always still very much in Israel's camp about a lot of things. Dave Smith talked about it. He did an event, him and Tucker, I think, both did an event or just a month or two ago with Kirk. And he talked about his experience with him, and he said, they had a conversation, and Dave Smith can go pretty hard on Israel. And he said, Kirk was just very nice, and he'd ask some questions. He's like, I feel like he agreed with me on a lot, or I feel like he knew I was right, but, he stayed pretty devil's advocate type thing and asking questions. So I don't know. I think, of course, in response to all this stuff, Netanyahu has come out and he's released a couple of videos saying it's basically you're doing the Nazi thing if you're saying Israel had any involvement whatsoever. But do I think that a former intelligence operative would attempt to influence an organization? Yeah. I mean, there's AIPAC. That exists just to influence all of Congress, and somehow is not a foreign lobbying group. Somehow it's just normal domestic stuff. But yeah, like I totally believe that Netanyahu would like to influence Turning Point's perspective on all things Israel? You look like you want to jump in.
No, I was just curious. I was questioning, like, what is the reason because of the size and, like, the scope that he was able to reach?
Well, yeah. So if you look, this is my thing. This is what I think about it. If you look at, I guess MAGA would be the best way to put it. If you look at the voter dynamics of the last couple elections, young men are voting Republican a lot more. Single women still Democrats, married women more so Republican. But if you look at the Republican voter base, and you look at the young men, they are not very favorable on Israel. They might be all about Trump. They might be all about ending the Federal Reserve. They might be, yeah. So there's like some ending departments and ending agencies. There's a lot of like destroy the system stuff, which I'm happy to hear. That apparently resonates with the youth. But Israel is just not. They don't trust Israel. I think they see. I think there's a lot of content out there nowadays, and some of it's propaganda. Unfortunately, who was it? There was it was Chris DiStefano, the comedian. He said he found this video on Instagram where they took it was just like over a picture of like a lake, a peaceful thing, but they used AI to translate one of Hitler's speeches into English. And so he was like, so I'm sitting in my kitchen listening to this Hitler speech in English. And his girlfriend, who's Puerto Rican, she's like, oh, is this a new candidate? Who is this? I kind of like this guy. He's like, yeah, it's a new candidate named Adolf Hitler. But so people are taking some of Hitler's more compelling speeches, putting them out there in English and going like, what's so crazy about this? And then in certain regards, you go, well, this part of it is not the crazy part. Like,
yeah, the context is different. And
yeah, exactly. It's just like, and that was the other thing. AI, anything that was like instead of saying German, it got changed to American, and so they did that kind of thing to go. If you heard this, would this sound that crazy? Which the lesson there is that he was a great speaker, and politician by that as well. Whether you call it manipulative or whatever, like he was a powerful speaker that obviously got his way. The lesson's not that the Nazis were good. You should like Hitler wasn't so bad. Not the right lessons, or that his message about the Jewish people was accurate. Like wrong lesson. Anyway, but so there is this going on. So I do have some concerns about that. But I also think a portion of some things is just, teens and early 20-year-olds liking to be offensive. The people, it seems like the teenage boys enjoy a nice 9/11 joke these days. They like a nice Holocaust. They like being offensive. We went from the everyone's offended by everything to the everyone's being offensive, which I'm all right with. I like the offensive.
Yeah.
But, yeah, as long as it doesn't actually go to the Nazi thing.
Jokes are fine.
Yeah. I won't say that on the podcast. But anyway, so for whatever reason, between that and thoughts on 9/11, thoughts on the USS Liberty, like these things that have come out, where now you can learn all about these different plots that the Israeli government did do against the United States. They spy on us more than any of our adversaries do. Always have, always will. And post 9/11, when we went into these wars, there's a whole lot a lot of people are doing content on how Netanyahu wanted us to jump in and go after these 7 nations. And surprise, as of now that we've hit Iran, we've gone after all of them. And most of the leaders have been overthrown outside of Iran. That's the last one. So anyway, there's a lot of people not trustful of Israel. And Charlie Kirk is very influential with this group of people. He, like we were talking about last week, or was influential, but like we were talking about last week, the young conservatives are more conservative than the previous generation's young conservatives. They're like legit about, I feel like the last generation, they'd be conservative about tax policy, but they'd probably be a little more pro-choice on like abortion, probably a little, I don't know, some of these social issues be less, quote unquote conservative. And it seems like the new batch, the pro-life, read the Bible, go to church. So like the current conservatives are more conservative, it seems. And that might, in part, have to do with Charlie Kirk, doing content that resonates with them. Jordan Peterson, too. So anyway, if you're trying to influence... Because if you're Netanyahu, like, your bread's buttered with the Republican Party. I mean, granted, they got all of them. There's no votes against Israel in Congress. But as far as the people who will offer the full-throated endorsement, that's going to be probably the Republican side of the aisle. The Democrats, whether it was Biden, who kind of snubbed Netanyahu quite a bit, AOC and Squad, there's a contingent that is very upset if you don't call the Gaza genocide a genocide, or the Gaza whatever a genocide. And so you need to, with the young Democrats seeming to be coming up more on the extreme, free Palestine, communism, whatever. Like it seems to be more extreme left, just like the right's more extreme, more conservative right. So okay, I need the new batch of Israel supporters. And with Turning Point USA being the top right-wing influence outfit for college-age people, I mean, that's who you need. And so that's my view on it is, Charlie Kirk was outreach, indoctrination, whatever you want to call it. He's spreading the gospel of Christian conservatism and resonating. He's being fairly successful with it. So yeah, I think BB wanted in on that, and he wanted to make sure that he'd have a little bit of say in how that message goes, especially the Israel stuff. And at some of the Kirk events, people would show up who were into the Constitution and into all this, but anti-Israel, and would hit them real hard on it. And some of them would be anti-Israel, anti-gay, like a lot of stuff where it's probably the Nick Fuentes camp, who I wouldn't be shocked if that dude's a plant in and of himself, if he's an asset. I know this is normally your job to...
Like an agent?
Maybe not an agent, but an asset. Maybe an agent, but at least an asset. I don't know. He just seems... he's 12 years old or whatever he is. He's a young guy, and he's become like the face of white Christian nationalism. And maybe he's not a Nazi. Maybe he is. I'm not.
Fuentes,
yeah.
Just want to point that out. Fuentes.
Right. Oh, the Spanish, Right. Well, Spain had fascists,
The Spanish supremacists.
Yeah. I assume he'll come from Spain, not Mexico, okay? It's still one of the whites. It's one of the white Hispanics. But this kid's coming up, and he's very popular, and somehow he's had a good amount of resources. I don't know from the jump, but he has grown quite a bit. So part of me just feels like that there's a little FBI agent up his butt or something. I don't want to get into too much of a rant. Well, Candace Owens said that when she met Fuentes and I think interviewed him or something like that, either had a conversation or did an interview, she said he was very polite the whole time, was, just sort of a well-mannered young man, and they had a good time. They left kind of on good terms. She was like, oh, he's nice. I don't know exactly all of his politics, but he's a nice enough guy, it seems like. And then he went on his show, his very next episode, and he basically would just talking mad trash, just like started ripping her apart as just doing all this stuff. Like she was like, it was a totally different human being. She's like, I don't know how much of that's an act. So, but it is one of those things you go, well, I don't know. Maybe he is there to recruit and keep tabs on the whatever you'd call them. All right. Oh, yeah. So sometimes like the more Fuentes sort of anti-Semitic types would show up and ask questions of Kirk and try to get him to, I don't know, be more extreme, So there's definitely a contingent of his audience that wanted him to have different thoughts on Israel. All right. So yeah, I do believe that of course people tried to influence him. I do believe that if he turned them down, they pushed and tried to do it. Maybe they even tried intimidation at some point. I don't know. The extent of that intimidation could just be mean words, kind of like Tucker and Kelly were saying. If you don't take us up on this, not only will we not be supporting you, but you'll see how much support you lose. That kind of thing. Like, I'm very influential. We'll see what you got left after I'm done. But I don't know that Israel needs to kill Charlie Kirk. I don't know what they gain out of it.
I'm agreeing with you on that.
Okay.
It doesn't. While my skepticism still exists, I feel the same way. It doesn't make sense.
Okay. But then other stuff comes out and you go, well, this feels weird. So obviously, once this kid got arrested, people were pointing out that, surprise, surprise, a kid from Utah that his family's Republican. I mean, there's a 4 out of 5 chance. Right. Like it's like an 80% Republican state, especially when you don't live in Salt Lake City. But it's like, oh, look, his dad taught him how to shoot, and his dad's, a Trump supporter. So they're like, oh, this guy wasn't left wing at all. And they kind of ignored what was carved into the bullets, the hey fascists, catch this, and looking at bulges and stuff. And so suddenly, just out of nowhere, once again, this thought gets passed down from the thought creator through the influencers, through TV, where they go, hey, this guy was right wing. And there was this big push for a couple hours, maybe a day, where it's like, this guy was a MAGA guy. MAGA killed MAGA. That's what this was. And people just kept saying it, hoping it would stick. And so then, and on those bullets, they kept saying it was MAGA, hoping it would stick. So then the attorney general, or whatever, the investigator, releases some of the text messages that Robinson had with his roommate. Now, Robinson's mother says that he was in a relationship with the roommate who is male transitioning to female, or at least quote unquote transitioning, maybe just dressing feminine, but because his roommate looks a lot like him, which is weird. That's always weird. It's weird when that happens, whether you're straight or gay. Don't look like your partner. It's weird. DeWine, the governor of Ohio, him and his wife look shockingly alike. I don't want to disparage the woman, but I don't know. DeWine, I'll just say DeWine is not a pretty man nor a pretty woman. Anyway, it's weird. Why would you want to see yourself? Like, I don't know. Anyway. So, but they go, okay, well, we're going to release these text messages from between Robinson and his fella, or his lady, or his person. And I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, we don't even really have confirmation.
What do I call you?
Well, it's like, it's one of those things. It's his boyfriend. They go, it's transitioning. It's like, is he? Can we confirm that? Can anybody actually confirm that? Or is he just a gay dude?
What's the threshold? What determines that?
I know. It is like, if you just at the beginning, like if he's, I don't know, growing his hair out, if he's not taking hormones, if he's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to try some feminine stuff. These are two Mormon kids in Utah. I think one of my theories on this is actually his first relationship ever. Maybe this other kid's too, because obviously likely, grew up gay is not okay. So definitely wouldn't do anything in high school. He probably, didn't talk about it. He was probably in the closet hardcore. Got to college. Obviously, you got a little room to breathe and be yourself and, find out that there are gay people. They don't suck your blood or whatever. And so I think this is like, instead of being 15 and having your first girlfriend and all the fierce emotions that come with this, I think this is his first like relationship. And I wouldn't be shocked because the other kid was described as the black sheep of his family. Wonder why. So I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, if that kid is just out of the closet, I think there's probably some shame that he still feels just from his upbringing. And I think sometimes, and I don't know this to be true, but I think sometimes with young gay people who declare themselves as trans, I think part of it is trying to process being ashamed of being gay and saying, well, if I was born in the wrong body, it's not that, I'm gay. It's like there's this genetic mix up and it just happens to be one of those things. I think it's silly. I think it's, just be yourself. It's cool. There are people with gender dysphoria, but I do think with a lot of especially a little bit on the spectrum, or if you come from a religious household or whatever sort of household where it's unacceptable to be gay, I think that sometimes things come like that, and it's more of an experiment. And a lot of these people grow out of it, is my thought. So anyway.
Do you think it's like trauma management, kind of? Like the self-management?
Yeah, kind of. Or it's like, if your whole life, what you are is a sin and you're going to hell and, your family frowns upon it. They use terms openly to disparage gay people. Maybe even your sweet mother will say, oh, it's just not right. So, oh, it's a shameful thing, And so you maybe have these feelings. You go, I can't admit that. Like, it's wrong. Maybe you try to pray, don't make me gay, And so when you finally are coming to terms with it, you're trying to come to terms with it, it might be easier to say, well, instead of just, hey, this is what I'm into, you go, actually, I have a condition. And so it's kind of not my fault, especially like with religious households where, gay action is a choice. You can just choose not to sin. And if you're having those impure thoughts, you pray for forgiveness and just choose not to live that way. And so if you go I can't do that anymore. You're going to make a choice to live a bad life. So if you're in the wrong body, you don't have to make that choice to live a bad life and to be a sinner and all that kind of stuff. I could be off on that, but it's a kind of it's something that I feel I don't know. It just seems like some people who declare themselves trans and maybe don't go all the way, some go all the way. I think some of them just feel like who they are is not enough. It's not okay. And in fact, that was, back to Charlie Kirk. I did see him talk to somebody like a trans person or something at some point where he was like, I hope that one day that you realize that who you are and the body that you're in is good enough. And it's all you need to be. And it's kind of that thing. I think it's a feeling like this is not okay. And anyway, so I'm going to call him boyfriend just because, I don't know. So I think he still goes by a male name. I think all this stuff, whatever. It's just easier. So they release these text messages. Really, we're weaving around here, just doing the weave. And they transcribe them, They don't just send screenshots of Discord, which they say this is from. They type it up in a Word doc or whatever. So here we go. So it starts off with he hollers. He goes, "Hey man, check under the keyboard of my computer." And he goes under the keyboard. There's a handwritten note that said, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Okay. Now, Cash says they don't have this note. This note was destroyed, but they have forensic evidence that it existed.
Huh?
Yeah, so I don't know if this person set it on fire and there's a wastebasket with remnants of a note card or something like that. And they go, well, this is what it said. And they go, all right, we believe you.
Okay.
So this is, you see this thing. There's clearly big gaps missing from it. I mean, they never pretended they gave us everything. But Robinson goes, I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. If you're trying to keep it, I guess that was it. The note would be under the keyboard, and you wouldn't necessarily tell. I mean, you left the note. Feels like you weren't trying to keep it secret, And so the roommate goes, you weren't the one who did it, right? He goes, I am. I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah. I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I'll have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they've moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Okay? And so then they give us an ellipses. So there's stuff. Maybe they were talking still. Maybe there was a time break. I don't know. It's just an ellipses. We don't know what happened this time. But he's going right back to, okay, the roommate. How long you been planning this? A bit over a week. A bit over a week, I believe. You believe? Is it over a week or not? Like, how long you been planning it? I can get close to it, the rifle, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Which is another thing that in this, that seems totally just random. Like, they asked how long you're planning it. He's like, I don't know, like a week. I think I can get it. I think I can get my rifle. I think I can get it. It's like, okay, well, we weren't talking about that, So it's one of those things you go, this is not great necessarily. And then he's talking about circling back to grab it again. He's like, I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about my prints. I had to leave it in the bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the bleep will I explain losing it to my old man? The only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The blank messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. I mean, he's got a good sense of humor throughout the thing. But he's like, all right, I'm going to have to leave it. It really effing sucks. And then judging from today, which this looks like it's a continuation. I don't know if the Blaze cut it in this weird way. But judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope, which is poorly mounted, but whatever. And then delete this message. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it's very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. And then ellipses break. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Then ellipses break. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love. Roommate, I'm much more worried about you. Yeah, because you're about to go to prison. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. So I imagine... Okay, so first of all, that thing is super fishy. Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, you give me your thoughts.
Well, even AI thinks it's fishy. AI says it's scripted.
But
it just doesn't sound natural, especially for the kid's age and like you said, talking about his dad being MAGA, like in between ellipses, it's such a random text to include.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I understand you have to withhold some stuff, I guess. Maybe there's relationship comments back and forth between the two, you know. But it sure seems like they keep talking about stuff. The way that this guy just stays on my gun, my gun, my gun. I gotta get it, gotta get it. Oh, maybe I can come back down. Oh, there's a car circling. All this kind of stuff. It's like, it feels like, I mean, there definitely was. These ellipses mean there's more information in between. By not releasing it, it feels like they're purposefully trying to paint a picture. And when the authorities purposefully try to paint a picture, I get suspicious of said picture. Now, it sure looks like it would be his grandpa's rifle that he used. The scope, I believe, could be $2,000. It's crazy, but, you know, whatever. I guess you don't want to miss. But yeah, this is releasing this. At first, you go, see that? Gay relationship. He specifies the bullets, which is another weird. I mean, I don't know. If you really thought, you know, these messages were never going to go anywhere, but that's the thing, out of context too. Like
It references all the evidence
right.
conveniently.
That is part of the thing that makes it so fishy. Is he does like my rifle's wrapped in a towel in a bush. That's where I change clothes. You know, I carved into those bullet cases, or the whatever, the brass. Yeah, the casing. And it is, you know, it is funny to try and get Fox News to talk about bulges. I get the humor. But here's the thing that it occurred to me today or yesterday. I heard somebody talking about all this stuff. The bullet casings that have all the messages, they're all the unfired bullets.
That's what was confusing to me too.
Yeah, so there's a fourth bullet, and this is lever action. You know, so shoot, you know.
But he only got one shot off?
He only took one shot.
Okay.
He took one shot, got the hit, run. So it could be out of instinct. You know, a lot of times if you're used to, because the kid would shoot with his dad. So you might be used to doing the motion, pull the trigger, rack the next one, you know, dispel the empty. But they would have had that one on the rooftop if he did that. Or he put it in his pocket. Or, you know, I don't know. I feel like they need to address whether they have found the fourth one, if it was in the gun, if, you know, if they go, we just don't have it, which they probably don't want to reveal, I guess, when they're building evidence. But the case, I mean, it would have fingerprints on it, probably, unless he loaded it with gloves on. And some people do. But they should address it. They got to address this fourth bullet, you know? Like, what happened?
And where's the one? Where's the one?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the one?
Well, so yeah, the one that actually hit him. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, the projectile portion of the bullet, I mean, that, you know, it goes through. I don't know if they found it in the dirt or anything behind them. But
I'm just, yep. Those are the same questions running through my head.
yeah, but the casing, the brass, like, that's, they need to address it. Either we're looking for it, we've recovered it, it didn't have any markings on it, something. Just something. It's like, so he wrote in 3 bullets, but he didn't. But the fourth one, did he not write on the fourth one because he was worried it might screw up the bullets, and that's why he didn't. You know, he's like, I don't know, I don't want it to affect anything. So I don't know. But those are a couple things where you go, it's not clean. It's not clean. I know. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that's in criminal justice that's not as clean as it is on TV and movies, but they have a bad habit of, the Trump Department of Justice has a bad habit of releasing partial information that clearly is trying to spread a narrative, and then it just makes things look screwier. You know, whether it's Kash Patel or Pam Bondi screwing it up. I don't know. But I mean, even the Epstein footage, they go, here you go, all the footage. It's going to clear the thing. And people go, hey, man, the minute's missing. You know, what? Oh, well, every day at that time, it misses a minute. It's just a switch over. And then everyone's like, we need more files. We need more files. And so they release a huge batch of files. Well, now that minute's there. It's not missing anymore. So it did get recorded. But then someone looked at the metadata or whatever. And they go, well, this isn't even from the same video. You know, it was one of those weird things where it's like, so is this just AI minute? Like, oh, look, you found the minute. Like, was it planted? Be like, oh, don't even mention it. Then they'll discover it. And we'll go, oh, it was there the whole time. But if it was there the whole time, how did it go missing? You know? So, like, there's stupid things like this that keep happening, which, I mean, I think it has to be on cache. I mean, it could be that, you know, all those sorts of things where you worry about men in black suits killing you. That could be very true. And Kash Patel's the head of the FBI, and he's like, oh, there are people here that'll still kill me. So I really can't do things the way I want to. I really do have to do things that guy's way. You know, the cigarette smoking man or whatever.
I'm just going to say this. He's the most nervous person I've ever seen speak. I just watch his mannerisms. That guy is worried all the time.
He only looks like he's in a hostage video.
That's the best way to say it right there.
Yeah, I stole that from Tim Dillon, but it is like once you hear it, you go, because he's just.
When I watch his hands too, when he speaks, it's always nervous ticks. Like,
yeah,
I don't,
and in this, you know, people are like, oh no, the investigation was going good. It's like maybe it was, but maybe it was just because the parents were like, crap, that's old. What's his name? I was gonna say Timmy. What's his Tyler? Oh, you know, that's Tyler, all right. What would have happened if Tyler's parents were, you know, Antifa? If they were like, we're rabid left-wingers. And they go, Tyler, what did you do? Did you kill Charlie Kirk? They go, Dad, I did. You go, all right. Did you get, like, they got the rifle. They're going to have your prints, you know? It's like, we're going to need you to travel. We're going to need you to travel to wherever, where it doesn't have an extradition treaty. You know, like we're going to just go traveling. Because, like, what happens if parents reacted a different way? Does the FBI ever catch up to them? Because if this kid's never been arrested,
yeah,
they won't have his prints. If the parents never did one of those, like, Find My Missing Kid scams where they get your prints on from the get-go, then, you know, they go, well, we have the prints, but we'll need to find someone to match them to it, you know? Like, if not for that, and if not for telling the roommates, you know, would they have found this out? I mean, the roommate doesn't look like he was going to say anything, at least not for a while. Their kids are going to say something eventually. But, yeah, it's like, oh, the case closed. We solved it. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if you did or not.
I've only seen a picture of the roommate, so.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of pictures, but it's...
That person doesn't exist to me.
Okay.
Till I see the person, they don't exist.
There were some people that did a bit of a dive on him, grabbed some photos before he, like, disabled his social media, you know. But there's pictures of him skiing and stuff. Looks a lot like this kid, though.
Well, the FBI is good. That's great.
So here's the foot. And so at first, I was concerned because I remembered the video. Oh, no. Okay, hopefully my little square doesn't cover it up. But I rewatched the video of him climbing off the roof.
Now you're good.
And he does have the rifle. So look, I'm going to hit play. We're going to see. All right, here he comes. All right, and so it's hard to tell now, but he's running. So now watch. Okay, we got to zoom in here. So you can see he's wearing black. But see that? That is a towel wrapped over a rifle. I have carried, and so then he's hanging. You can't see it again. Woo! He drops, does well, and then there.
Wraps it back up.
Yeah, and then you can see him running, and it's like a rigid towel. So he did. At first, it was like, how did he not have it? How did he break down the gun and then unbreak it, put it back together, put it in the... He didn't have to. It is wrapped in a towel. It's right there. So in that regard, you know, it matches what law enforcement's saying.
If that's him.
Yep. And then he's wearing, if it's him, yeah. If they didn't make this with AI. But, you know, he's wearing whatever he's wearing, all black, and I guess he changes back into whatever he changes into. I guess his American flag shirt.
Walmart had to pull that.
Oh, I thought you got it on eBay. Did they find it at Walmart
Oh,
too?
Walmart. Yeah, Walmart
okay.
was selling. They had to pull it down, I think.
That's funny. But yeah, so at first I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. But you go, okay, like I guess he did have it, and if you go, all right, well, obviously, if you're planning a crime, once you get away from where people might be seeing you, you change your clothes. I mean, I think that's something you do. So, I don't know. It's there's a lot of, it speaks to the distrust of law enforcement and our government, where this might be open and shut. This kid was in his first relationship. You know, he's his fellow, like it's a gay relationship. Maybe he's trans or he's exploring it or whatever. And Charlie Kirk is, you know, trans is a mental illness and all this kind of stuff. Not he's one of those types of people that goes, you know, just don't commit the sin of gay acts. You know, it's a choice. You can choose to live a moral life and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's how Charlie Kirk was. And so this guy was probably thinking like, I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to protect my little baby. Like, hey there, lady fella. Like, I got your back. But so I think he did it for love, or it could be. I think he went out there like a bold 20-something-year-old. Maybe roommate was about to dump him, or he felt like roommate was about to dump him. Maybe roommate's been talking to somebody else online or something like that. Kid's feeling a little jealous, you know. He goes, well, I'm going to do a bold, heroic move to show my love. And, like, as a teenage boy or young 20-something boy, you know, we've all done bold, stupid stuff when our head's all fogged, you know, especially in relationships. It's the time when we're stupid. We talked about it last week. It's the dumbest we'll ever be as an adult, hopefully. Hopefully. But so it could be something as simple as that. Like he's like, I don't like this guy. I don't like, you know, and probably just bad feelings of being closeted for a while, bad feelings of knowing that where he lives in Utah, it's widely not accepted, you know. So there's probably a little bit of that, just, you know, negative feelings that bubble up and combine. But the problem is, like, no one trusts anything anymore. And also, they're releasing stuff in such a sloppy way that now, like, there's all these conspiracy theories about maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was Israel, maybe, you know, this person, that person, whoever. I don't know. You got anything else on the killer here before we kind of pivot?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah, well,
the only thing I thought I read about was that Charlie Kirk had recently, like, adjusted his stance on homosexuals.
Well,
which was interesting. Like, he had gotten called out on debates from very extreme conservatives saying, hey, you've kind of softened your stance on it. And his defense was, we should welcome all into the church. Or something along those lines.
Yeah, and I would say that, and I don't know, you know, I'm not well-versed enough to know how his views changed, but I know I've seen plenty of stuff. I saw one where, this kid was saying we should reject, you know, gays from the Republican Party and all that. And he was basically like, what do you think of Peter Thiel? What do you think of, whatever, these gay Republicans? He listed a few of them. He goes, if you don't think they should be in our party, like, then you're not a Trump supporter. You know, it was that kind of thing where it was like big tent, like we need lots of people. I know Dave Rubin, the podcaster guy, he's a gay man, married to another man named Dave. Yeah.
Dave?
That'd be another thing. Like it's just too weird. One of you has to pick a new name.
So you both end up having the same name altogether except for the middle.
It's like, and I don't care if it's a Mel and a Melissa. Y'all both go by Mel. No, you don't get to do that.
Pick one.
Sorry. There's 2 names, at least 2 names per couple. It's a rule. You can have a double name, but y'all can't share one name. It's my rule.
Dave 1, Dave 2.
You can be Dave. You're Doug now. I'm sorry. You're Doug.
Doug and Dave.
But I guess Dave Rubin and Kirk were friends. So, he'd go over to Dave Rubin's house for dinner and stuff. And so, at the house, they're a gay married couple, adopted kids, so lots of things that like super conservative or super whatever don't agree with, gay people adopting, gay people getting married, all that kind of stuff. So I think he was in the camp of that it is not man's job to offer judgment. That's God or St. Peter, whoever, I guess God ultimately, job to offer judgment. And if you're not participating somehow, like, I don't know, Ben Shapiro's thing was always like, I won't attend your gay wedding, but I'll go over to your gay dinner. Your gay wedding, it's like I'm supporting something that I believe is a sin. I go to dinner. I'm just having dinner with some people. So I think there's that sort of weird carve out deal. That's kind of where I think Kirk was, that kind of thing. He was much harder core on the trans thing, which, obvious reasons. That's been a thing. All right. Well, let me see where I want to go to. I got so much time. I think I might save Kimmel for a loaded grok here. Yeah, real quick. Just in conspiracy theory world. Brigitte Macron is going to present scientific and photographic evidence to U.S. courts to prove she's a woman.
I was wondering if this was ever going to come to this point.
Yeah.
It's been an ongoing thing, and now we're here.
Yeah. No, she's, it says, so that was in the New York Post, but yeah, she's, they're suing Candace Owens. And, so she's going to go to court, American court, with evidence that she's a woman. Here's the funny thing. It mentions, like, photographic evidence. You hear that, you go, whoa. What exactly are we talking about here? Like, obviously there's one photograph that would be pretty telling, Is that what we're talking about? And I guess the answer is no. It's going to be pictures of her pregnant. Because I guess they have kids. Or she has kids. I guess it would have to be them. But maybe she had kids before him, because she taught him when she was 38 and he was 15. And then they got married, I think, when he was 29. So she would have been 52 or 53, whatever it was. So they couldn't have had kids together, probably.
It would have been very big reach if they did.
It would have been a challenge. It would have been,
yeah.
Or a crime, depending on what age. But yeah, so, theoretically, yeah.
So they're going to show clothed photos of her pregnant, and that's going to be the proof?
That's what they say. Let me see what it was.
I'm going to be respectful.
The French power couple is ready to demonstrate both generically and specifically that the allegations are false.
Generically and specifically.
Yeah, I don't know. Where does it say? Maybe it's higher up. Okay, the two are submitting the documentation as part of a defamation lawsuit. Who claims that there will be an expert testimony that will come out. That will be scientific. I swear it said something about pictures of her pregnant. The attorney, beyond that, it would include pictures of Brigitte, now 72, when she was pregnant with their kids? Their kids.
Uh-oh.
Really? Brigitte Macron was 39 when she became the teacher of him at 15. They married in 2007, which was 14 years later. She would have been 53.
So she was pregnant before they got married.
It can't be their kids.
Oh, unless they're using their as in it's just their kids.
Yeah. I guess maybe. Yeah. They
Well,
could
wait,
just
if she was. Wait, yeah, it's. If they're going to show evidence of her being pregnant, then
Yeah.
they must have had the kids before they got married.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
one of them, or, you know.
that's, either they got together or she had babies from a previous marriage and they're just sloppy writing in the post.
What's the scientific evidence?
You would think just a nice little DNA test or something. You go, hey, this is here's a chromosome. You know? Yeah. I don't know. Of course, like, they're never going to win a defamation lawsuit because they have to prove that Candace Owens knew it was false.
If we're doing this while we're on the subject, there's a few more maybe we can ask. I don't know.
Like
Big
who? Big Mike. I wonder if there's any truth to Jennifer Aniston.
Chuck Schumer's wife. Very interesting. No offense.
I feel like we've gotten to the section of the show where we're just calling people's wives ugly.
If I were to use a word, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chuck.
Sorry, Chuck. Speaking of Chuck, he responded. This one, I guess we can touch on this real quick. Trump has declared, and this is his post, I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. I will be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standard and practices. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sometimes I end my text messages with that now. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So Chuck Schumer and everyone else is echoing the same thoughts on Twitter already, where it's Antifa can't be a terrorist organization. They're not an organization. They're just a concept. They're just a thought. And then other people go, Antifa is literally just anti-fascist. They're just people who are against fascism. You can't. How is that terrorist? I guess if you're a fascist, it is. And like this is the eye roll mass take of the left right now. And you go, it's not even an organization. It's not even. It's. I guess you're for fascism. And you go, all right. I mean, like so. Chuck kind of put that out there. And he's just like, oh no, actually, Chuck was about Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm sure Chuck said something on this one too. But yeah, so this is what they're going for. I will say, I think anybody that remembers the George Floyd protests 2020 year, where they took over like a whole block in Seattle with Chaz, where they changed it to Chop because everyone started making fun of them. Like, no, it's not Chaz. It's Chop. It's Chop. It's tough. And I'm sure it is a loose knit. They favor themselves to be anarchists, which I don't think they are. I think they like chaos, but I don't think they're a fan of a principle where you get to have your own thoughts and decide who you interact with, because you go, hey, I think I should be able to choose to interact with you, and whatever business we do is fine. We don't need the government involved in this. They're more of, it's fine as long as you do what I want you to do, as long as you think the way I want you to think. Otherwise, maybe I burn down your property. And I guess to a certain degree, you can go, well, that could be anarchy too. It's like, sure, but I get to shoot you. I mean, it's you attempting to assault me, attempting to ruin me for a disagreement. So yeah, I guess in the absence of law, theoretically everything's fair game. But the behavior is actually a fairly fascist type of behavior. They're a fairly fascistic organization, which is funny. And that is counter to their whole name.
I wonder whose names will come up when When they're investigated for being a terrorist organization, according to old Donnie.
I do wonder because I do think there are a few actual organizations set up, and I do think people have. I looked up. I'm like, how do I donate to Antifa? And there's an anti-fascist defense fund international. There's like Antifa International, and so they help the anti-fascist movement around the globe. If you need, legal fees or replacement of broken stuff or whatever, and they don't look like they process that much in money, but you do have to wonder, during the rioting when Kamala Harris did that fund for bail, and they're letting people out like same day. Well, you bailed out somebody who claims Antifa. I don't know. I got the hook there. I think Andy No, the reporter, he's been covering Antifa for a long time, and so you can go through his account and just be like all the people that are associated. But there's clearly a mechanism to it. There's it's decentralized by design for cover, obviously. I don't think it is as decentralized as advertised. I think with the right resources, one could trace some money. I think if I had access to what the FBI has access to, I think I could find a good number of people in a fairly short amount of time. All you gotta do is find people who have been openly in Antifa, check out their finances, see, if any large transactions came through, find any, maybe they already know who dropped pallets of bricks. Maybe it wasn't the CIA and the FBI. Maybe it was an NGO, which once again is kind of the CIA. That's going to be the funny thing is we found out who's been funding it. It's us. We did it. So we're arresting ourselves.
Cash is just sweating the whole time.
See, it wasn't, we didn't fund it, but the NGOs, and we shut them down, and now we're good again. And Epstein killed himself. Right. All right. Well, I think we're probably a good place to wrap up. Please remember to like and subscribe. Sign up for the little alerts, hit that bell, Anyway, all that, it helps us with the algorithm. We're slowly clawing our way out of YouTube jail. Check out our new shorter segments we got out. If anybody's made it to this point and wants to check out chunks of the show, we've got segments from the show, and then we've got our Loaded Grok feature, which is basically when we have Grok tell us what you want to talk about, stuff that we don't want to put in the show because it's stupid, but you like it and you don't know it's stupid. So I'm here to tell you about it. Charlie.
So Grok's fact of the day: on September 18th, 1565, Spanish explorer Pedro Menendez de Alvarez founded St. Augustine, Florida, making it the oldest continuously inhabited European established settlement in the continental United States.
Nice. Isn't it also, it's home to the oldest bar, too.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you know that the actual saint, his name is Augustine?
Yes.
And we call it St. Augustine.
So I'm no longer going to call it that.
Well, it's like a GIF. It's a GIF. It is, by God, literally a GIF. But I can't do it. It's a GIF. It's a GIF now, but it's not. It's a GIF. St. Augustine is named after St. Augustine. It's St. Augustine, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, you're welcome for that, people. I'll see you later.